What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Pokemon Masters EX video. My name is Charlie, and today we're going to check out Acerola and Mimikyu, their moves, their what lucky skill you should have on them, what kind of team you should build around them, their sync grid, of course, and the difference between the busted form and the regular Mimikyu form. Alright, so first off, let's go ahead and check out. Type is Ghost, weak to Steel. 5-star, of course, it's a limited unit because of the Halloween limited unit, so make sure if you want to get this unit after you check out this video, that might sway you on whether you want to pull for Mimikyu or not. So it's got an HP of 510, attack of 237, the physical attack, because that is the type of attacks that Mimikyu does. Physical defense of 166, special attack of 208, special defense of 166, so the defense and special defense are the same. Speed of 252, and the bulk is something we don't need to worry about anymore. Alright, so the moveset, Shadow Claw. Critical hits land more easily, does 40 or 48 power damage, depending on how powered up it is. That can drastically increase with the sync grid, depending on how many copies of the unit you have. Shadow Sneak, and it's a 2-gauge move, by the way, against a single opponent. Shadow Sneak is a non-move gauge using move, like Phantom Force, which is another move that Mimikyu has. This does 75 or 90 power, depending on how powered up it is, against a single opponent with no additional effects. But the sync move or the sync grid really does make this move worth it. Boo! It sharply raises the user's attack when in disguise form. It raises the user's critical hit rate, and when in the busted form, it raises the user's defense and special defense. The busted form is meant to be for defensive purposes. The disguised form is meant to be for the attacks. So that's why it raises the critical hit. But it's going to raise your attack regardless. But it does raise your critical hit rate if you're in the disguised form. In the way that we'll check out why it changes when we get to the passive skills. So, Phantom Force. Also, it only has 2 uses, but there is an MP refresh for it. 2 uses. Phantom Force has 3 uses. Does 160 to 192 damage, or power, depending on how powered up it is. The user takes on a Phantom Presence. After a set time, this presence fades and the user attacks. No other actions can be taken while in Phantom Presence. Opponent's moves will not hit the user while in this presence. If the user is hit by a sync move while in Phantom Presence, the presence will fade. Drift Blim has this as well, Morty. So we know how it works. It's an interesting move. It's an interesting move to use. I like that you have essentially 6, without the MP refreshes, you have 6 moves without using any move gauge, and they're going to do damage. Pretty decent damage, too. Alright, so the sync move does Trick or Treat Shadow Claw, does 200 to 240 power, depending on how powered up it is, which does change. Its power increases if the target is confused. But Charlie, you're saying, how can we get this Pokemon to confuse the other Pokemon? Well, it's with Shadow Claw. Critical hits land more easily. And then we go down here to our passive skills. Criticon Fuse 9. So it leaves the target confused when the user lands a critical hit. So that's why you use Shadow Claw. Even though it doesn't do that much damage, it's going to confuse your opponent 90% of the time. That's what the 9 stands for, 90% of the time. So that's very, very good, and it plays into the sync grid. Opportunistic 9 lowers the target's defense when an attack is successful against a confused opponent. So it's very... The Criticon Fuse Critic Confuse, such a weird word to say, really plays into being able to unlock the full damage ability of Mimikyu. So Disguise. This is how it changes from Disguise form to Busted form. Protects the Pokemon from damage from a single attack move. After this passive skill takes effect, the Pokemon shifts from Disguise form to Busted form. So have this Pokemon, you want this Pokemon to be like your main striker essentially, so it's at tactic level 3 instead of level 2 or 1. You could have it at 2, depending on if you wanted an extra striker in number 3, but you don't want it as number 1, because you want to be able to use the critical, raising the critical rate with Boo instead of raising the defenses. Because you definitely want this Pokemon to be your strike unit. You don't want it to be your tank or support. It's not really a support at all, by any stretch of the imagination. But what lucky skill do you want on Mimikyu? Critical Strike 2. Definitely want Critical Strike 2. You want to be able to use as many critical strikes as possible, power up those critical strikes, and keep the Pokemon confused that you're attacking, because that plays into the Sync Grid. So remember all that as we go into the Sync Grid. And as far as a team to build around it, again, you could have this as your sole strike unit. You could have a second strike unit in the second or third slot of tactics as well. Morty and Driftblim. Who's another good ghost type? Gengar. Fantina. Fantina would be great. You could even, depending on who your opponent is, what team you're building, you could use Mewtwo for Mewtwo's Shadow Ball attack. Because it's still very strong, even though Fantina beats Mewtwo when it comes to ghost type attack damage. I'm pretty sure Mimikyu is going to blow that out of the water anyways. And as far as like a support, I mean, you could use Skyland Swanna. Torchic would be awesome for Mimikyu. Like Torchic and Torchic and Swanna would be a great team if you just wanted Mimikyu by itself as the sole striker. But let's go ahead and hop into the sync grids. So the first one is, of course, the 1 out of 5 grid. What we're doing here is a Shadow Claw build. We did get Fuzzy Strike 5, which powers up sync moves when the target is confused. Headstrong, attack can't be lowered. Clear-headed, prevents the Pokemon from being confused. Boo, MP Refresh 2. We get some special defense, speed, attack, Shadow Claw plus 6, so you got a Shadow Claw plus 18 there, so it's not bad. Plus 5 from the regular attack, so really not bad. And the Shadow Claw move gauge refresh as well. So yeah, not too bad. But if you wanted to do like Shadow Sneak, obviously we would just do that. Switch it up a bit. Not too bad there. If you wanted to, I mean, it's the same thing. It's literally the same thing. And then you can do, of course, Phantom Force over here. I mean, you can power up Shadow Claw or Shadow Sneak if you wanted. So yeah, those are pretty much what you can do with the 1 out of 5. We'll move on to 2 out of 5. Here we go. So this one is the Shadow Sneak. 2 out of 5. At 2 out of 5, you can actually start doing some good damage because you get Confusion Synergy 2. Powers up the moves when the target is confused. So that is actually over here at Shadow Claw. Does the confusion when it lands a critical hit. Or actually, it's the critical hits land more easily with Shadow Claw, and the passive skill lets you confuse the opponent when it is a critical hit. So that's why Shadow Claw is very important for that. But you can, as long as it's a critical hit, you can do it with Shadow Sneak as well. And with Shadow Sneak, You have Critical Strike 2, Shadow Sneak Critical Strike 2. Powers up attacks if they become critical hits. So that stacks with Critical Strike 2 as a lucky skill. So it becomes Critical Strike 4. Does a lot of damage on top of Confusion Synergy 2. Powers up moves when the target is confused. You're doing a lot of damage that way. You're doing a lot of damage that way. Very, very good. Really, really not bad. And of course we do power up Shadow Sneak with all the, so that's what, 6, 12, 24. Not bad. And then we have Amped Up 1, which raises the Pokemon speed when it lands a critical hit, so we're leaning into being able to do critical hits. If you wanted to take away Amped Up, I mean, you could do Defense plus 20, and then do like a special defense. But Amped Up is really what you want there. Alright, move on to the next one. This is the Shadow Claw build out. Again, we got Confusion Synergy 2, the Boo MP Refresh 2, all the Shadow Claws. Pretty much just powering it up as much as we can, because it does the least amount of damage from the other moves. But it's still going to do a really good amount of damage with Confusion Synergy 2. Just so you guys know. Alright, moving on to the next one, because we do have a lot of sync grids to get through, because this is actually a pretty good sync grid. So this one is the Phantom Force build. We did do Confusion Synergy 2 again, but we grabbed the Phantom Force power-ups, along with Fast Track 2, which has a moderate chance of raising the Pokemon speed after it uses a move. So not too bad, I guess. I mean, if we wanted to, we could switch those out. Do like when it raises a critical hit, we could do Headstrong and Clear-Headed. Maybe increase Shadow Claw if you wanted to. Let's see here. You could do take away Clear-Headed and just do Boiling Point 2, which once per battle sharply raises the user's attack when in a pinch. So that could also raise its attack damage if you wanted to. There is also, down here we have Power Flux 5. I'm trying to think, what would be the best way? Doing it like that. So we take away that. Okay. So take away Headstrong, and then you could do it this way as well, where you have Power Flux 5. Because Phantom Force doesn't use any move gauge, you can increase your defense and critical hit rate with, say, and speed with Torchic and Skyla, or Torchic and Swanna, keeping Pokemon together there. And that way you're not using any move gauge. So Power Flux is going to hit with Phantom Force or with Shadow Sneak with the maximum amount of damage from Power Flux. Of course, you would probably want to do Shadow Claw first to confuse the opponent, so that way you get access to Confusion Sync 2. Power up the move when the target's confused. Maybe. I'm just saying. Alright, move on to the next one. This one is Shadow Sneak. This is a 3 out of 5. So we're getting into 3 out of 5 builds. Very nice. This is really where Mimikyu shines. I mean, he does really, really good. Does really, really good. So, on top of Shadow Sneak Critical Strike 2, you have Stop Hitting Yourself 5. Raises the chance that an opponent will attack themselves due to being confused. So it increases the percentage of the opponent attacking itself when it's confused. Very, very good. Very, very good. Very useful. And on top of Confusion Synergy 2, you have a Confusion Synergy 3. So that those stack so that you do Confusion Synergy 5, which increases it by 50%. And you can do Critical Strike 2 on top of Shadow Sneak Critical Strike 2. So that way you're doing Critical Strike 4. This can do a lot of damage. This can do a lot of damage. I would definitely check this one out. if I'm lucky enough to pull the unit 3 times. We'll see. I don't know if I'll actually be able to pull the unit when it comes out today. I might have to wait till next week when I get paid again. So we'll see. All right. Let's see here. We'll probably do like a little pull session. All right. So we have another Shadow Sneak. This one's not using the Confusion synergies. What we're doing here is the Power Flux 5, the Shadow Sneak MP Refresh 2, the Shadow Sneak Critical Strike 2, and then we just power up Shadow Sneak by 24 points. So it's not too bad. And of course we have the Boo MP Refresh as well. Raises our critical hit rate. In the disguised form. In the busted form, it will raise our defense, but it's going to raise our physical attack either way. Alright, moving on to the next one. This one is a Shadow Claw build out with the 2 Confusion synergies, and we also grabbed the attack plus 20, so that gives us attack plus 25 on top of the Shadow Claw plus, what is that, 6, 12, 18, and then you're also doing Confusion synergy damage. Like this can do some serious damage. This can do some serious damage. Let's go ahead and finish that out. There we go. So yeah, this can do some serious damage as well. I really want to test this out. Moving on to the next one, we have this one's the Phantom Force build. So we have Phantom Force MP Refresh 2, of course the MP the plus 3s for the Phantom Forces, the attack plus 20, the attack plus 20 plus 5, Headstrong, so that way our attack can't be lowered, and Clear-Headed, so that we never get confused, and of course our Boo MP Refresh. Not bad. It's not bad. If you wanted to... God, I like this too much. I suppose if you wanted to, we could get rid of all that. Do that. But that... See, that's just hard to get to without taking away the attack plus 10. It'd be really difficult to get to. 6. See, yeah, so if we took that away, then you'd be able to do Power Flux 5 with it. But I prefer the other one. That's just me. And last but not least, we have the Sync Nuke build as usual. This is actually a really powerful Sync Nuke. This is going to do a lot of damage because it's already one of the more powerful Sync bombs, Sync moves, doing 200 base, 200 power. This we're actually adding to that with the Confusion Synergy 5, essentially there. The Fuzzy Strike 5, which powers up Sync moves when the target is confused. Again, doing a lot more damage there. Plus the Sync move getting an extra 50. So you're already doing a base 50 more damage with the Sync move. This might be the most damaging build for Mimikyu. That's what I think. And combine this with Skyline Swanna and Torchic. I mean, you're doing pretty good there. You're doing really good there. You just have to make sure that you confuse the opponent. But yeah, guys, what do you think about the Sync moves? What do you think about Mimikyu? Let me know down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, subscribe. If you have not already, so you never miss out on any of my daily Pokemon Masters EX content. And make sure you hit that little bell notification so you always get notified when I upload a video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.